This is Khabir Southwick, speaking to you from beautiful Ojai, California. I'm a whole food nutritionist, Ayurvedic practitioner, and herbalist, practicing in Los Angeles County, Ventura County, and Santa Barbara. Today we're going to talk about understanding the Ayurvedic body type, dosha, the Kapha, and what balances out the Kapha, and what foods work best for the Kapha. So first, it's important to understand the Kapha body type and digestive system. The Kapha body is heavy, moist, often oily, slow metabolism, slow system. Often they're slow to show up for appointments, often late. Very easygoing, very relaxed. Things don't bother them as much. As they don't get anxious like the Vata or irritable like the Pitta, so this makes them very good companions. They're very stable, very steady, but they need a variety. They need stimulation. They need movement. They need to be more active. So to balance out these qualities of heavy, slow, and moist, of course, the diet is going to be a little more dry, much lighter, and even as light as only 2 meals a day. For many Kaphas who are concerned about their weight, which generally is a major Kapha concern, 2 meals a day works very well. Compare that with the recommendations for the underweight Vata, with the almost overly active metabolism, and they are recommended to have even 4 meals a day. The Pitta does very well on 3, and the Kapha can do good on 2. Now the problem with the Kapha is that they have a lot more mucus, a lot more congestion, and more stomach acids. So often the Kapha doesn't have a strong appetite, in contrast to the Pitta. So this means that they can skip meals quite easily. They often skip breakfast, and don't start eating until much later in the day. Now, when the Kapha doesn't have any breakfast at all and doesn't start eating until around lunchtime, often then they're very hungry, then they eat a lot, then they'll snack through the afternoon, eat at dinner, and eat right into the evening. And Kaphas do have a good stamina, and they can stay up quite late, and they have more difficulty getting up early. Their sleep is generally quite heavy. But this pattern of skipping breakfast, eating late, eating into the evening, staying up late, and sleeping late is a big problem for the Kapha. So what's most important for the Kapha to get off of this habit is to stop immediately eating at night, so there's more hunger in the morning, and then in the morning they could also stimulate the appetite a little bit with some ginger tea, and any other type of digestive stimulant that will help to increase the appetite. So the Kapha eats in the morning, and once you eat in the morning, then the cycle has been moved 4 or 5 hours earlier. Then they can have the lunch, and then a very light dinner. And if there's to skip any meal, it would be most advisable to skip dinner, not breakfast. And like I said earlier, the Kapha could do fine on a late breakfast and an early dinner, and some light fruit-based snacks in between, like apples, berries, and other sour fruits, persimmons, and other fruits that are not too high on the glycemic index. The worst fruit for the Kapha would be like the banana. It's too sweet, it's too heavy, and we now know that it is not a suitable food if you're trying to lose weight. So the main dietary recommendations for the Kapha to pacify the Kapha and reduce it is warm and hot foods mostly, eating a very minimum of oily foods, avoiding all cold drinks, cold foods, frozen foods, ice cream, popsicles would be very unhealthy for the Kapha. Frozen yogurt, all these would not be beneficial to the Kapha. And in fact, most dairy is not that suitable for the Kapha. Kapha has a slow digestive system and has susceptibility to congestion in the nasal passages, upper respiratory problems, upper respiratory infection, phlegm, mucus. So dairy products really need to be kept to a minimum, particularly cheese. If a young Kapha child, it's very helpful for all children to have dairy to some degree. And if they do get congestion or mucus, then you can give them raw goat milk. This is less congestive, and it's been advised thousands of years ago for the Kapha body type who has congestion. And this is a way you can give your Kapha child milk, raw milk, without having to be as concerned about the congestion. Of course, if you warm up milk and you put some ginger with it, this makes it easier to digest. And obviously, yogurt is easier to digest as well. So a lassi, small amounts of fermented dairy with a meal works for a kapha. But we're only talking about 1 or 2 tablespoons of yogurt with a meal. As far as general dietary guidelines for the kapha type, it's a light diet favoring dry foods, crunchy foods, and as far as taste, the kapha diet favors a pungent, which is hot and spicy, bitter and astringent taste. Kapha needs to avoid sweets, as I mentioned, sour and even salty tastes. So as kapha can easily retain water, and salt only contributes to this water retention and is not suitable for the kapha. The kapha also does best on a vegetarian diet, avoiding really almost all animal products. Like I said, just small amounts of dairy. But the kapha really should avoid almost all meat. If they were to have any, it would be the less fatty white turkey meat or some seafood, particularly freshwater fish. But the best protein source for the kapha is beans, legumes, peas. These should be eaten 2 to 3 servings a day. This will fill up the kapha, and give the fiber the kapha needs, the bulk, the protein, without the fat. Kapha does very good with beans and large amounts of vegetables. The vegetables in the kapha's case can be steamed, or maybe raw in the winter time, or cooked in the they're raw in the summertime or cooked in the wintertime. Compare that with the vata, where almost all year round they do better with cooked and steamed vegetables, mostly soups and stews, while the pitta does best with the raw vegetables because of their strong digestive system. The kapha is somewhere in between, so steamed works very well. The vegetables that don't work well for the kapha obviously are the heavier root vegetables, starchy vegetables, not too much zucchini or squash, no sweet potato, and almost all the leafy greens, the cruciferous family, work very well. Even small amounts of the nightshades and tomatoes will work very well for the kapha. Most important for the kapha diet, should be well seasoned, spiced, a lot of ginger, black pepper, cayenne. The kapha does very well with hot, spicy foods, and you'll find many kaphas love hot, spicy foods, and this helps to stimulate their digestion, keep the bowels moving, and is very beneficial to their body type. As far as grains, this is a little bit of a difficulty for the kapha. Many people in our society have abandoned all grains, and wheat in particular, and it's not recommended for the other 2 dosha types, but for the kapha they need to keep the grains or the carbohydrates from grains to a minimum and avoid really the more glutinous grains, because the kapha is, things are moving slow, and gluten is like glue in a sense. It moves slow, it's hard to digest. So the kapha would also want to avoid any type of pasta, whether it's rice pasta and wheat pasta. And generally, the kapha does not do good with wheat, rice, and any yeasted breads like sour bread. They'll do much better with the drier, lighter grains, barley, millet, corn, buckwheat, rye, quinoa. And also, it's important for the kapha to avoid oats. Oats is a mild sedative. It contributes to weight gain, so it would be counterindicative for the kapha body type. So as you can see, the kapha diet is almost a weight loss diet, and it's very common in our society for people to follow a very similar diet to this, avoiding most grains, reducing dairy down, eliminating most meat, and doing legumes. So it's common in that sense, and it's very suitable for the kapha. But remember, this type of restrictive diet is definitely not suitable for the Vata, and it's really not suitable for the Pitta body type either. So even though this is a more understood and I could say popular approach to weight loss, it's best for the Kapha. As far as fruits, the Kapha shouldn't have too much fruits, and if they do, they should be sour fruits, not sweet fruits. So if you have a kind of a sour apple compared to a sweet apple, you take the sour apple. And these more astringent, tart flavors, cranberries, persimmons, and even dried fruit work very well for the Kapha. Nuts do not work very well for the Kapha. They're the same as the Kapha, heavy and difficult to digest. So some seeds, sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, pumpkin seeds with food would be suitable. The Kapha has to be very careful about snacking because they already have this kind of low appetite and sluggish digestive system, and easy to skip meals. So they need space between the meals to allow the stomach acids to build up again and the hunger to increase so they can properly digest the food. So Kapha does very well with long gaps between the meals, with very little snacking, just on maybe an apple or two between meals, a lot of teas, and avoid any eating at night if they want to lose weight. The body will not burn fat and be in fat metabolism if the body is continually fed every couple hours or is being fed at night. The body will then not be in fat metabolism, and then there'll be a continual cycle of craving food, which is a very dangerous trap for all doshas, but particularly for the Kapha because they can put on weight so easily, which is one of the most noticeable signs of the Kapha. So once again, the Kapha needs to stay physically active, needs to eat light foods, and not be overly restrictive and eliminate all categories of grains or dairy, but eat these foods in great moderation. And if you follow the Kapha diet, you'll never put on the weight. You can still have your 2-3 meals a day and not put on weight, and to be a little lighter, wake up a little bit earlier, and have more energy during the day. Once again, keep moving, and Kapha means earth, so to balance out the earth qualities in the Kapha, this heavy, slow, you need to stimulate the Kapha. There are some Kaphas that I've allowed to have coffee, or suggested that they had coffee at 7 in the morning, since they had to get up early. And since Kaphas generally don't have anxiety issues, sleeping problems, coffee works just fine for them. So, but coffee obviously wouldn't be suitable for the Vata type who has insomnia and nervousness. So different foods are suitable for different people, and I hope you got a good understanding of the Kapha type. Feel free to leave your comments or feedback, and I hope you explore this diet if you're a Kapha. It's a weight loss diet, so it's suitable for every Kapha and every person who is putting on a little extra weight. Once again, thank you very much, and may have a good day.